Hello, and welcome from Spotify Camp Nou. First of all, Happy New Year to all coolies from all around the world. And what a way to start 2023 with a live open doors training session here at the Spotify Camp Nou. Somewhat of a Christmas tradition, for chance for all the youngest coolies, for all the boys and girls to come and watch their idols from up close. Prepare for what we hope will be a very successful 2023, Bruno.
Yes, Robert, hello and good morning to everyone. This training session that was used to be done in the mini study, it's destroyed.
It's no longer.
Yeah, so now here at the Spotify Camp Nou, I think for the first time, at least in many years, a fantastic opportunity for all the kids to enjoy an open doors training session that, of course, they are not used to do it.
We have heard our head coach, Xavi Hernandez, say repeatedly that the goal this season is to win titles. We're top of La Liga in spite of that 1-1 draw against Espanyol on Saturday, and we hope, as we say, that 2023 will be full of joy and full of success. We are waiting for the players to step on to the pitch here at the Spotify Camp Nou training session. Which will have to be a serious one as well, because, Bruno, we have a very busy schedule coming up.
Absolutely. Starting, of course, this Wednesday with the debut of Barça in La Copa del Rey. It's the third round, but, of course, the 4 teams that are involved in the Super Cup have not played the first and the second round, so they will debut against Intercity of Alicante, a game that will be played in the Rico Pérez Stadium, a historic one and one of the venues of the Olympic Games of Barcelona 1992. Then big clash at the Metropolitan on Sunday against Atletico de Madrid. And finally, next week, the team will travel to Riyadh, to Saudi Arabia, to play the Super Cup in these semi-finals, facing Betis, the other semi-final, Valencia Real Madrid. So, yeah, really busy start of January.
A chance for us to see a Clásico within the first fortnight of this 2023. The plan today is that the players will come out in just a couple of minutes. We have our special robots, the Barca Foundation robots, Robot Paul and Robot Joyce. These are, robots with a screen which are connected to rooms in hospitals where little kids can see or live the Barca experience from up close. The players will go say hello to the kids who are connected to this video call, and then they will proceed to a training session which will last for about an hour and 15 minutes. The second to last training session before this Copa del Rey clash on Wednesday against Intercity. There will also be some, presents for the kids here at Spotify Camp Nou. A Spotify Camp Nou in which we won't play much this month of January, by the way. We won't be back here until the 22nd of January in the league game against Getafe.
Yes, and then it will depend also on the Copa del Rey, if Barça continues in the competition, in the draws. But yeah, so important to be here at the Camp Nou because people will miss it for sure. Not just the training session, Robert, today, as you were explaining about these robots. After this training session, all players and the staff will visit different hospitals here in Barcelona, also a tradition for all those kids and people that are suffering in these special dates. Well, the players will be there taking pictures, signing autographs, and apart from the training session, this special visit afterwards that, all our fans will be able to enjoy all the content on Barça TV Plus and also on YouTube with special footage of all this special journey today.
As a kid who, at the age of 15, was in hospital, unfortunately, over the Christmas period, receiving a visit from the Barca players, as I did back in 2002. I had Luis Enrique, I had Marc Overmars, Fabio Rochenbach. It was a very special visit, and it does make your day when you're in hospital, not feeling very well, but to see your idols up close does help lift your spirits.
I thought you received an autograph from Cocu.
No, I received a signed jersey of Philippe Cocu, which I imagine is the one that they had that day, but Philippe Cocu didn't actually come. But yes, anyway, it does make your day and it lifts your spirits when you see your players and you get to have a little chat with them. The players will be divided into different groups, go to 8-9 different hospitals here in Barcelona and cities surrounding Barcelona. You'll be going to one of them?
Yes, Vall-d'Hebron, one of the big hospitals in Barcelona. They are also going to Hospital de Barcelona, Sant Joan de Déu, that is also the special one for the kids because it's a hospital where there are just kids. So and then also to Sabadell, Badalona, and outside the city center of Barcelona.
It's one of those special days over the holiday period. Just Barca players and coaching staff and the whole team looking to spread out a little bit of joy, with spirits maybe a little bit down, Bruno. We have a lot to unpack today, but the first thing we probably have to talk about before the players come out is that draw in the derby. Unfortunate draw. There were lots of circumstances. Xavi said that it was down to their own mistakes, especially not taking the opportunities that we had. There was a lot of refereeing controversy involved as well, but ultimately Barca not able to take away the 3 points.
Yes, basically the team, I think, started really, really well the first 10, 15 minutes with a strong start after the World Cup. But then I think the team entered in this low rhythm that Espanyol was trying to introduce. Was not able to close the match in the first half, and then, you know, in a derby, and if you are not able to take all your chances, you can complicate yourself, and it's what happened in the second half also with the show of referee Mateu Lahoz, and everything was complicated until, well, the last 10 minutes, same that were good for Barca, but not enough to score a goal because Álvaro Fernández, Espanyol goalkeeper, was absolutely brilliant with 2 important saves.
Barca did have the opportunities late on, the header by Andres Christensen, the Robert Lewandowski opportunity with his left foot, trying to put it underneath the legs of Álvaro Fernández, who did make 2 very good saves there. Barca were not able to take away the 3 points, but we are top of the league, still tied with Real Madrid. I get that this season, I think it will be a very tight one, Bruno.
Absolutely. You are top of the league, we can say virtually, because you haven't played yet the second game against Madrid, because we lost the one in the Bernabeu, but yeah, Robert, it's going to be really tight for sure. I think now after the World Cup also the teams are going to draw many more points than in the first weeks of the competition. Also for sure lots of teams are going to sign players in this winter transfer market, so everything is going to be more equal, I imagine, and it's not going to be easy for these teams also that will have such a busy calendar. Madrid with the Champions League, Barca with the Europa League, of course the Super Cup, the Copa del Rey. So
depending on how deep a run we make in the Copa del Rey, we hope it is a very deep run that we can make. We are coming live to you on Barca TV Plus, YouTube, and all of the Barca social media platforms. Please send us in your comments your 2023 wishes for Barca. If you're on the chat on YouTube, for example, we can check those comments out. Send in your wishes, what you're looking forward to the most in 2023. You mentioned the winter transfer market. We'll see if there are any additions made, if any players leave. We'll have to see what the situation here is at Can Barça by the end of the month of January.
Well, Xavi has said in all press conferences now before these last games that he's really happy with the squad he has.
And who wouldn't be?
Absolutely. And that probably there's not going to be many movement at Barca, but you never know what happens in this kind of winter transfer markets. And this one, I think, especially is going to be, there's going to be movement after a World Cup where, well, there have been players that have shined a lot. We have an example, like Espanyol that have signed César Montes, for example, and many more signings for sure that are going to be made by lots of, La Liga teams and also around Europe.
Well, the fans here at Spotify Camp Nou waiting for the 25 players plus some Barca B players who will be joining the squad today to step onto the field. We are a little bit delayed. We'd been told that things were going to be starting at about 5 to 11. The players getting ready. They'll be on the pitch in just a few minutes. I have a couple of wishes here for 2023. Zezan Munir on the live chat on YouTube saying, my wish is that... my wish and everyone's wish is to bring Messi home. We'll see. I mean, there are rumours. Obviously, we want to congratulate one of the best the best player in Barca history for his success in the World Cup, his triumph. Lionel Messi, congratulations from here, from Barca Live,
Barca
on winning that World Cup. Oh yeah,
if there were any doubts, I think after what happened in the World Cup, for those that were doubting about if Messi was the best one or not in football history, I think that these doubts ended.
Yes, we have got wishes for titles, wishes to win more games. Fahad says, I was very disappointed with our tie versus Espanyol. I think we all were. Because we saw where the game was going. It did die down a little bit in the second half. I thought that Barca maybe needed a bit more energy, maybe to be a little less predictable in the way that they were attacking. Xavi did try to shake things up with the substitutions, bringing on Ferran Torres, bringing on Ousmane Dembélé, but Espanyol, look, I always find it funny when teams, or when pundits and experts say Espanyol had a game plan and it worked out. Well, it did, obviously, because their plan was to keep the game tight and to take their opportunity when they had it. But it can go wrong at any given moment. We hear the Barca anthem, the players stepping onto the pitch, led by captain Sergio Busquets. There they are, the Football Club Barcelona players.
With the robots here.
With the robots stepping in front of Robot Paul, Robot Joyce saying hello to kids who are in hospital, connected to a video call, and who get the opportunity to say hello to their idols there. We see a banner in the stands there asking for a Sergi Roberto shirt swap. And as we see, Frankie de Jong, Jules Koundé, Memphis Depay, all the Barca players, Xavi Hernandez as well in there, stepping onto the pitch, taking a picture before this training session that we will be offering you live on Barca TV Plus on YouTube. A full training session, Bruno, about an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes, that we'll get to see how Barca prepare in this first or second session of 2023, because they did train yesterday.
And I like to see these happy faces, because it's true, it was a derby, we were winning, Espanyol equalized, but in the end, Robert, there was just 3 points of a long season, a long championship. You are top of the league, so it's not the end of the world, because we were all really excited with the competition back. But in the end, you took a point, not the 3, but it's not a disaster or a really negative result, because the league is really long, and the atmosphere has to be this one, the good one. Continue working hard, and then of course in the Metropolitano there's going to be another final.
And there is our head coach Xavi Hernandez talking to Robot Paul, Robot Joyce, kids who are in hospital connected to a video call, who get to live the experience from their rooms of watching this training session and interacting a little bit with our head coach and former player Xavi Hernandez.
Yes, all these histories about the robots started with the COVID-19, because of course there's a tradition that the players always visit the hospitals in these Christmas dates after the training session. But in these recent years, it was not possible due to COVID-19 and all the restrictions also in the hospitals. So that's why they introduced this kind of robots that now they are using not just for training sessions, also for travels. The women's team, for example, when they traveled to the Champions League, they were with a robot, and they were also interacting, and the kids experiencing what means to travel with Barca for an away game. So, well, really interesting, this experience with the robots for all these kids that are in hospitals.
A round of applause from the fans here at Spotify Camp Nou for the players. Spirits high. There's optimism in spite of the result on Saturday. The situation is much better, for example, Bruno, than the one we were in just 1 year ago.
No, absolutely. This is what we were trying to explain, that in La Liga you will play 38 games in total. This was a derby, the first game after the World Cup. We also saw how Real Madrid suffered, for example, the day before against Valladolid, scoring a really late goal to win the match. 2 very
late goals, yes.
Yeah, this is gonna, Robert, be a really tight league. And as I was also trying to explain, I think teams will drop more points now than in the first stage of the competition, because also the rest of La Liga teams will need the points, ones to avoid the drop, other ones to try to enter in European positions. So it's going to be tight and tough for Barca and Madrid.
We're seeing there banners from fans to their favourite players. Some want a Pedri jersey, some want a Rafinha jersey. He got to start the other day against Espanyol. We've seen one for Arnautenas as well, Sergi Roberto. And the fans experiencing this live training session, watching their idols from up close, stretching and warm-up exercises first around the centre circle, and then we'll get to see, no doubt, lots of exercises with the football, which is what Xavi Hernandez likes.
Exactly. The whole training session today, we're going to be able to enjoy it. We were used to see the first 15 minutes, but today we have the chance to see the full training session for this team, Robert. As we were saying, let's focus on this week. First of all, what's coming up, because tomorrow there will be the last training session and the preview press conference before debuting in Copa del Rey, round of 32, this third round.
Against Intercity?
Yeah, Intercity of Alicante, a team that will play in the Rico Pérez, that is actually the stadium of Hércules.
It's not their stadium. Yeah.
Exactly, but the stadium is really small, just 2,500 fans capacity, and that's why they will play in Rico Pérez.
And it is great, Bruno. First great news of 2023. Ronald Araujo back in training with the team. We've seen him in previous training sessions as well. He missed out on the World Cup, even though he did go with Uruguay. Missed out on key games in the month of October and November for Barca with that muscle tear he had in an international break.
He was in the squad list the other day, available in the bench. In the end, he was not part of the activity of the game. He didn't play, but he's ready in full. Ready again to compete.
The team divided into two groups, one with the yellow bib, the other one with just that light blue jersey that they wear for training, and the traditional rondos with two players in the middle, and the ball moving already here at Spotify Camp Nou. You mentioned, Bruno, of course, this upcoming game against Intercity. Traditionally, the games against lower tier teams, a chance for players who don't have as many minutes to get some, to be in the lineup, to prove themselves to Xavi Hernandez. For example, last year we saw a goal from Ferran Jutgla against Linares.
And Dembélé.
And Dembélé as well, when he was going through a rough patch with his contract renewal controversy all over there. So we'll see who's in the lineup on Wednesday. A chance for players who didn't play on Saturday. I'm thinking, for example, of Frank Kessié. I'm thinking of Pablo Torre as well, who stayed here during the World Cup break. Played a little bit with Barca B, but had some injury nags there as well. Players who are coming back from injury, the likes of Ronald Araujo, for example. Eric Garcia didn't play the other day.
However, Robert, since the new format of the Cup, that of course is just one game, direct knockout game, probably Xavi will not introduce as many substitutes or changes as he would do if it was two leg, one way and first leg and second leg, like it was years ago, because it's just 90 minutes, one game, and if you are not at your best, you can be knocked out from the Copa del Rey. But for sure, there will be chances for players that haven't been involved and playing minutes this season as other ones. But careful with this kind of games when you play
they can get very complicated
against, of course, teams that are fully motivated. In this case, Intercity, a team that are performing really well in the third division.
They're in the same league as Barça B.
Yes, exactly.
Or Barça-Athletic this year.
Exactly, in the same group. I don't think it's going to be easy, but this new competition, this Copa del Rey with the new format, I think, has been a success from the federation because it's much more interesting now.
Obviously good to see Gavi out there as well after he had to leave the game against Espanyol with lower back pain. Probably one of the players who'll get some rest on Wednesday.
Sure.
It'll be a good opportunity as well, we assume, to see Iñaki Peña.
Yes, Iñaki Peña, that can have also the opportunity to play for sure. A really talented goalkeeper. We saw it last season when he went on loan to Galatasaray and he actually faced Barca, playing an outstanding game here at the Spotify Camp Nou. So of course, will be a good chance for Iñaki Peña to be involved in the dynamic. And in the end, a month of January, that if you start winning cup games, in this case for Iñaki Peña, I'm saying for the goalkeeper, you get like in this kind of rhythm and dynamic because you are playing almost each week one tie of the Copa del Rey. So that's also interesting.
And these are players who we often forget about, but at any given moment during the season can be very important because, God forbid, obviously, that Ter Stegen has an injury, but he could get maybe suspended or have to miss a couple of games, and then you need your second goalkeeper to produce in big moments.
I'm sure we will have time, Robert, to analyze and talk a little bit about a new era, the new Locosillo FC Barcelona on Amazon Prime. But a point on what you were saying, actually now we have here players really close to our position.
We don't usually get to see them as close to us.
So about what you were saying, that everyone has to be ready, I want to make a first mention in a first point about something that we see in this docu-series, a new era.
I do want to ask, before you start on it, Bruno, on the YouTube live chat, which is the chance that we get to interact with fans, let us know, have you watched a new era documentary, those 5 episodes that are on Amazon Prime? If you haven't, please do, because it is a very good watch. We highly recommend it. Let us know on the live chat. Have you watched it? Did you enjoy it?
I'm going to spoil a little bit because it's 2nd January, so people...
I think we all know what happened.
Yeah, and people got time also to show chapters. I'm sorry.
They've had a week. They've had a week.
But yeah, on that point, there is one of... before a game, Xavi explaining to the players and saying... before Rayo Vallecano game, actually, so this is the final chapter, the start of the season. All of you here, the 24 players that are seated here, are you ready to play, for example, just a minute in a game? Are you ready to enter at any situation, although you're not having so many protagonists during the season, but we need you for a game 1 minute? All of you will be available, will be ready? And everyone assumes yes, because Xavi says, say your hand if raise your hand if you're not you don't agree with me in this aspect. So everyone agrees. And about what you were explaining is basically this: everyone has to be ready, and the ones that haven't been so protagonists now in the Copa del Rey, for sure they will have their chance, and during the season they will have their chance. I mean, look, all the injuries that Barca suffered in the month of September, October, after the first international break. Xavi got problems then to introduce players in defense, acting with Balde in the right back, for example, because Bellerin was out, Koundé was out, Roberto also was out. So yeah, here we have on our screen Xavi Hernandez, that for sure now with all his squad available again, ready, will be really happy, because also on that game against before facing Rayo Vallecano also said, guys, I have a problem now to pick and select a starting lineup, but that's my problem, and I'm gonna be unfair with some of you because we have so many good players, and I just have the possibility to introduce the 11 players.
If I'm not mistaken, Bruno, this is the first time actually this season that Xavi has his full squad available, all of the players, because we started out the season, for example, with Ferran Torres still out with that lacerated foot injury.
Bellerin was not there, for example, against
Rayo. There as well.
Yeah.
Then we quickly, there was a moment in which we were saying Barca players aren't getting injured, but all of a sudden, that international break came. We lost Ronald Araujo, we lost Jules Koundé. We were talking about Iñaki Peña a second ago. Iñaki, who will probably get a chance to start on Wednesday. We'll see. We were asking...
Yes, our viewers have been watching the series or not?
Yes, some have, some haven't. Mesit says the doc was 10 out of 10. Pratyush Mohapatra says, yes, I did watch it. Bianca, no, I don't have Prime. Well, let's see if you can, obviously first get it, or if not, maybe a friend can lend you their account for... It'll take a couple of days. They are short half-an-hour episodes, 5 episodes. It's a good watch. It's a quick watch. You can do it in 2 days.
And imagine if for ourselves that we are really close to the activity in the trips, in the away games. Has been surprising for me to watch some moments. Imagine for people, of course, that doesn't have the privilege to be as close as we are in this first team. So for me, it's a must. You need to watch it because you will see behind the scenes and footage that we are not used to see.
Ketul Markan says, most depressing documentary. I mean, no, there are some good parts to it. Obviously, it does start from the 8-2 defeat against Bayern Munich, and it shows you the whole process until right at the beginning of this season. So there are lots of highs and lows, but it's interesting to see all the little things inside things that you don't usually get to see.
And hopefully we have a second season. It's with all the trophies, all the success that Barca will achieve in these future years. We hope so, of course.
Barbara Hens says, I still have to watch the last episode. The last episode is post-Clasico. It's a tough one, obviously, because it shows you the end of last season after that defeat against Eintracht Frankfurt here, which we mostly want to forget, so let's not talk about it. Alex Fair said, will there be more episodes? Can't confirm, can't deny, but things are being filmed.
Yeah, absolutely. Always all this content is filmed, and then it's about productions and plannings, and to see if it fits to continue recording. But Barca in this aspect, I think we have to say it, and not because we are working here, but remember the first docu-series that they released, it was Match Day.
Match day, yes.
With difficult moments like the one against Liverpool, for example.
Yes.
Now, in this docu-series, we're explaining the 8-2, the defeat against Eintracht. So Barca have been brave, showing all what has happened in these last years, because other ones could have, well, we have the content recorded, but we don't want to show it, and we're not going to release any docu-series. In this aspect, I think Barca have been, well, an example to say, hey, we have recorded everything, and we want to show you, all the fans, what has happened in these years.
Feni Pedaki says, the documentary was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Much love from Greece. Love to everyone in Greece and everyone all around the world watching us here on this January 2nd morning at Spotify Camp Nou, live open doors training session. The stands are filling, Bruno. The people are slowly starting to make it in. It's only the lower part of the pitch here on our right-hand side, and then it's quite full on the left-hand side, right behind the coach's bench.
Yes, as we've said, this was used to be celebrated in the mini study. That was the stadium of Barça with capacity for 20,000 spectators. And I will say that more or less, well, we have all this main stand full. Also, there at the bottom with many more people. So yeah, fantastic attendance from all these people that have paid a ticket that is going to be donated to charity for all the hospitals and the Barça Foundation with all the projects. So also a good initiative and a good cause for everyone who is participating here in the stands.
When you see the rondo up close, Bruno, the ball at which this... sorry, I was saying the sentence the wrong way around. The speed at which the ball circulates there is simply amazing. When you see it on television, I think it kind of slows it down and you don't really grasp how quickly the ball is moving around. I'm just amazed right now.
Yeah, and there's always a ball in there, because when someone misses a pass, that quickly Sergio Alegre is passing another ball inside the rondo. So yeah, it's impressive. The intensity, the rhythm. Yeah, of course, football players. I mean, from television you see it in one way, and when you're live, you realize, of course, that rhythm, talent, it's even higher. So, well, enjoying these rondos from the Camp Nou.
Just one last comment on the documentary. Aid says, which documentary, guys? I mean, have you not heard about it? It's on Amazon Prime. It's called A New Era, 5 episodes, which show you inside footage of Barca's run from the 8-2 defeat through to the beginning of this season, how the team has been rebuilt with all the highs and lows. There have been what was it, a year and a half? Or only 1 year, 2 years?
It seems like 4 years ago.
In 2 years, sorry, yes.
2020.
Going from 2020 through to September 2022. It's a good watch. You can do it in, well, one long afternoon or 2 days if...
or a long night.
Yeah, exactly, a long night. The players right now taking part in those rondos. The one that's closest to us is the one with the players with the yellow bibs right now, Sergio Busquets and Ferran Torres in the middle. I see on our YouTube live chat, fans singling out the names of players, lots of Gavis, lots of Pedris. If you were here and you had to write a banner...
Look, Gavi there.
There's Gavi, yes, who had to walk off of the game against Espanyol with lower back pain, but he's in training. He is a warrior. If you were here and you had to write a banner asking for a player to exchange a jersey with you, live chat, who would it be? Who is your favourite player out of the ones who are here today? I'm not sure which one. I think I'd probably want to get a Pedri jersey, Bruno.
Me too.
If you had to get a Christmas gift for yourself.
Yeah, Pedri or Gavi is kind of... because they represent all Barca values. They also represent the excitement of this new era. Yeah, they represent everything, I think, for Barca. And for me, these two players are the ones that are also engaging all the youngsters and all the supporters from Barca in these new generations, and they are a good example. I would also like to have a jersey from Ansu Fati as well. The other day, starting against Espanyol, hopefully little by little, getting rhythm to be back at the level that we all want to see. Also in the docu-series, he has a lot of protagonism.
Yes.
Ansu Fati, with all the ups and downs of injuries and
The different moments of recovery for him.
exactly. But I want to see, and my wish for this 2023, Robert, I think in terms of Barca news, will be to see again the best version of Ansu Fati.
That would be
Because he deserves it, I think.
great news for Barca.
And Barca needs Ansu Fati at the same at this high level. Yeah.
There's a moment in the documentary. It's actually commentary on one of the goals that he scores, the one in the Supercopa, and it's our colleague Chus Carrillo in the Spanish commentary at Barca TV who says that this player has such a special relationship with scoring goals. He has scored in big moments when the team has needed it the most, and that's what we need from our Ansu Fati. Obviously, we have the goal-scoring threat of Robert Lewandowski now as well. He takes on a lot of the burden of scoring goals, but we need alternatives, and we need players like Ansu Fati, especially if Robert Lewandowski does have to serve that 3-game suspension, which now is on hold.
Exactly.
But there is a possibility that he will have to serve that 3-game suspension and could miss key games.
I don't know how it's going to end this situation, but it would be great to see Lewandowski, of course, in the Metropolitano, in one of the most difficult games of the calendar for sure, when you have to visit and play against Atletico de Madrid. We'll have to see, because there haven't been any more news about the situation of Lewandowski. But yeah, it would be amazing to have him against Atletico. But we will have to wait, and I don't know, Robert, but I'm not really optimistic, honestly, with this week to go.
I think
too many days that many things can happen.
I think it was provisionally put on hold with the whole process that Barca initiated to try and get the suspension reduced. But ultimately, I feel pessimistic about it. I think he will have to serve that 3-game suspension. We were asking the fans, if you were here at Camp Nou and you had to write a banner asking for a player to swap jerseys with, who would it be? I saw in the comments lots of Pedris, lots of Gavis, some Frankie de Jongs as well. He's a very popular one amongst the fans, the international fans as well.
Here in our screens,
I didn't see very many Lewandowskis, Bruno.
Here is in our screens, Lewandowski. You don't see many Lewandowskis?
No, not many, not many.
For sure.
I see one Ronaldinho as well.
Well, for sure they will appear, all Lewandowski's fans, because has been crazy, Robert, these first months of the competition. The impact of the signing of Lewandowski in Barca news. When we were in the States, it was crazy with all the fans there. Also here, the day of his presentation at the Spotify Camp Nou, with almost a full stadium, receiving Lewandowski, a legend. That also has been important in the World Cup, representing Poland. And that now, well, the objective of Lewandowski to win, for sure, the Spanish League. And the rest of the trophies that Barca will have in play. I'm really excited, Robert, because in 2 weeks we will know if Barca has won, for example, the first trophy of this new era.
If it's been in a Clásico as well.
There is a trophy in play, and you are in the semi-final, so of course you have a big chance to win a trophy there. Then the Copa del Rey, as we have been saying, is going to be almost decided this month of January and in February. So you will also have another chance there. And after the Super Cup and the Cup, of course, you will continue playing the league that you are absolutely there in the battle. Then you will have the Europa League in February, March. So it's kind of an exciting calendar.
Manchester United, which is going to be a good one. I think it's positive that we got Manchester United to get everyone excited about this competition. We'll talk about it in a second. We were asking about the jerseys, and there's one little comment I want to read out with a little twist, which I enjoyed here. It's from Zeshan Munir. It says, if everyone is included, then it's definitely Xavi's, even if it's a training one. So, yeah. That's great. Xavi, still a favourite amongst the fans. Obviously, great as a player, and now helping the team top the standings in La Liga.
Xavi's a legend, absolutely. And there is also some moments in the docu where he says, guys, I would love to be a football player to play games like this one. And I'm not. I mean, I'm the manager, but enjoy the moment and leave it all on the field, because I mean there is many people behind you supporting you. You have this badge that represents a lot, and Xavi also in training sessions we always see him like another footballer, and we miss him a lot in the field for sure.
A little moment here for the players to refresh after the Rondo zone. We'll proceed to a next exercise. Lots of footballs involved in this one. We'll see if we get some shots on target at some point. We'll have to see what the next exercise is here.
and we have to explain, Robert, that
Yep.
of course now we are entering in this crazy month of January with so many games. People may think, well, about the training sessions that we're going to see today, for example. Well, it's kind of difficult because once you are so involved in the competition, training sessions basically are kind of recoveries and preview game sessions. So, yeah, it's kind of different, the sessions that we're going to enjoy like today or the rest of the month for sure, that the ones that they have been doing in December, that it was a kind of a pre-season with a lot of physical workout, double sessions. It's about having players in their best shape, and for that you have to balance, of course, training sessions with recoveries, with gym, but it's kind of difficult to manage it when you have so many games, 2 or 3 per week right now.
The month of December and the month of January could not be more opposite in terms of preparation for Barca. That was one of the things I did want to bring up about the game against Espanyol. It's not an excuse, obviously, because every team has had to deal with it, but getting the team back together with a short period of time. Some players had only been here for just over a week. Getting back into that competitive mode, which you left back in on the 8th of November, is like when we talk about coming back from the international breaks as well. The players who have lots of players out away on international duty obviously have the advantage that they have some of the best players in the world, and that's why they get called up with their national teams. But they are separated from each other for those 2 weeks. In this case, it was a month and a half. And getting back into competitive mode, getting that chemistry back, all the little connections that need to work in a game, sometimes it doesn't happen in the first game. And yeah, that's maybe a little bit of what we saw against Espanyol.
We have to say that Barça were the club with more players involved in the World Cup, up to 17. This means, yeah, of course, that they have been coming back in different dates. Espanyol, for example, have been playing 2 or 3 friendlies, plus Copa del Rey second round. Yes, I mean, yeah, it's not an excuse for sure, but it's really the situation from FC Barcelona or some of big
you even saw it with Real Madrid
teams.
as well.
Exactly.
Real Madrid had lots of players away.
With Argentinians winning also the World Cup and staying there
but Real
until
Madrid,
the end.
obviously they won 2-0, but their game wasn't resolved until the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, so what we are trying to say is that this situation is new for everyone. And of course, well, the big teams that are the ones with more players participating in this World Cup, well, they have been in a different situation because, of course, the teams that have not many representatives in the World Cup can say, hey, but we had our players in our squads without competition for a month and a half. Well, that's also another reason. I mean, yeah, everyone has their reasons.
Yes.
What we know is that has been a strange year, well, or it's going to be a strange year, and that now, I mean, football is back. And for me, the experience to have the World Cup in the middle of the season is not as bad as everyone was expecting or planning before. Because we've seen, I think, a World Cup with all your players.
Did you enjoy it? It's one of the
best.
questions I want to ask the fans as well. Did you enjoy the World Cup?
All your players at your best because you're in the middle of the competition and not at the end, always in June when everyone is really exhausted. And at the same time, I have the impression that the players arrive also in form after the World Cup, as we saw on the game against Espanyol in many moments. For example, an outstanding Frankie de Jong or some players that were brilliant that day. So for me, the experience hasn't been negative at all.
Did you enjoy it, Bruno? World Cup?
Yes, a lot. I mean, I would say more, not as, I mean, in football terms, probably I was expecting more in some games, especially in the final rounds. But in terms of emotions, surprises, the way it ended also with Argentina winning the World Cup after losing against Saudi Arabia in the first game. I mean, all this story about Argentina. The final, of course, was, I would say, well, the best one I've ever seen in a World Cup for sure, with the ones I have experienced. That I will start counting on South Korean World Cup 2002. That was the first one that I have memories. So yeah, I think it has been a really good World Cup, especially in terms of emotions, more than probably football games, except the final, of course, that was outstanding.
We had a round of applause there from the fans for the players doing push-ups after losing their exercise here, the players in the yellow bib.
What about you, Robert?
I enjoyed it in terms of the competitiveness, the emotions, lots of tight games, extra times, penalty shootouts as well, which obviously we can argue if it's the best or the worst outcome or if it's fair or not, but in terms of emotion, it's great to watch. But I agree that the level of football for me was a little bit underwhelming. Lots of teams going with a style that I don't really enjoy, which is playing really tight at the back, being aggressive, trying to take their opportunities on the counter-attack. I'd much rather...
Yeah.
Speculation.
More than the football level, probably we can say the way of facing games or speculating.
Being very conservative and almost being afraid not to concede rather than more worried about scoring.
Except most of the African sides, except for Morocco, the rest of the African sides were the ones scoring more goals and more spectacular ones, like Senegal or Ghana. But it's true that there was many speculation for lots of teams. Well, when
and you get it, obviously, there's a lot at stake, and some teams feel like if they manage to keep the clean sheet and they take one opportunity, then they have a better chance than if they just try to go at the other team. But I don't know. I like the brave teams. I like the good performances. I enjoyed some of the Spain games, some of the Portugal games. Teams who tried to play more football. England as well.
England, yeah.
But anyway, I think we're all happy with the outcome anyway. As Barca fans, we enjoyed seeing our 35-year-old former player and greatest of all time, Lionel Messi, lifting the trophy there in that World Cup.
I was missing also some names there, like Haaland, for example.
Yes.
I would love to see Haaland there because, well, most of the important names of the world of football, they shined in the World Cup. Neymar was a bit unlucky with injuries, but he played some important games. Of course, Mbappe was outstanding in most of the World Cup games, and especially in the final, scoring a hat-trick with 2 penalties. For sure, Leo Messi, surprising everyone, I think, with 35 years old and showing the level and leading Argentina to these final rounds. Yeah, it's the World Cup, and of course the big names, they show their best versions in this kind of competitions.
I want to ask regarding the World Cup and connecting it a little bit more back to Barca. I'll ask you, Bruno, and I'll ask the fans on the live chat, because I just saw a comment accusing us of not reading the comments. We read them every now and again. We aren't constantly reading them, but I am taking a look, and I saw that comment saying they're not reading the comments. Okay, let's read them. Who was the Barca player that you were impressed the most with in the World Cup? Who had the better World Cup out of all the Barca players?
I mean, it's difficult, this question, because, of course, most of Barca players were playing for Spain, and Spain was knocked out in the round of 16 against Morocco, a big surprise. And except for the game against Costa Rica and the first half against Germany, you can say that Spain probably was not at the best level. And then you can say, well, Pedri, Gavi, Ferran, most of the Spanish national side were Barca players. But honestly, I think they did it quite well in Spain, and that they were also unlucky in the way they were knocked out against Morocco, that they got a really clear plan. So if I have to say a player that has been an important one and has, I think, also led his national side, probably I will go for Frenkie de Jong, Robert, in Netherlands. I mean, impressive, the way of leading the team, assisting, scoring goals also. And the other day, for me, also was one of the best ones in the field here in Barca. And I think that this World Cup is going to be positive for De Jong now to continue with this confidence after not an easy summer with many rumors on his future. Yeah, I think this World Cup will help a lot to Frenkie de Jong, and for me has been one of the best Barca players in Qatar.
Frenkie de Jong is one of the 2 options that the fans are going for the most. Feni Peraki says, oh, and de Jong was great in the final against the Netherlands. There he is on our screens right now, right in front of the fans, with the team playing in the red bib. Frenkie de Jong is also an option for Dev. Messi says Frenkie was the best Barca player in the World Cup. The other player that lots of fans are shouting out is Gavi.
Yes.
And I agree. Gavi had an excellent World Cup in spite of Spain getting knocked out in the penalty shootout in a game in which they dominated possession. Didn't manage to create all that many opportunities. Very tough game against Morocco, but you could argue that Spain should have gone through. And I think that the performance of an 18-year-old on the world's biggest stage, establishing himself as a starter in a Spanish national side which has so much quality in midfield. The energy that he brought to that team, the competitiveness of Gavi was simply impressive. I watched most of the World Cup in the UK, and all the pundits there on national television were talking absolute wonders about Gavi. So for me, it was Gavi. Obviously, Frenkie had a very good World Cup as well. Pedri had some good games. It was nice to see Robert Lewandowski as well score, and you saw the relief in his face after scoring his first ever goal in a World Cup for his country. So a nice moment for him there as well. So yeah, I mean, it was there was lots of players involved in the World Cup. Balde was also very good in the minutes that he came on.
And the other day against Espanyol, impressive also, the last 10-15 minutes that he played. Yeah, Robert, in general terms, I think the World Cup has been positive individually for Barca players, because they also, most of them are really young, and for sure this experience will help them a lot to continue growing in their careers. And I think it has been really positive for most of our players that will take many positive conclusions after the World Cup and experiences that for sure will help them for the future.
A little bit of a complicated question here I'm going to ask you now, Bruno, because let's talk about the heavy schedule that we'll be facing again in this month of January. We've got the Copa del Rey. If we win our single tie rounds, we'll go all the way through January, through to the quarterfinals at the end of the month. We've got the Supercopa next week with the semi-finals against Betis and possibly a final against either Valencia or Real Madrid. There could be a Clásico in just a couple of weeks. And we've got La Liga, in which we're tied at points with Real Madrid, top of the table, 38 points for each team. We are top because of goal difference and have a very important game next Sunday against Atletico Madrid. What is the priority right now for Barca? And fans on the live chat, let us know as well. What is the priority? Because some would say, obviously, agree with Xavi Hernandez, La Liga is the most important title at stake for Barca this season. It's the one which shows the team's consistency week in, week out. But some would also argue, no, it's important to win the Supercopa now, because if you win a title, it lifts up your spirits, it gives you confidence, and going forward, you're back in winning mode. What is it?
I was expecting this question when you were, giving there and arguing your sentence. In another situation, Robert, of course, I will select a priority. But taking into account the full and long squad that Barca has this season, I would say that the 4 competitions are a priority. So every single game is a priority. You have a long squad although having such a busy month of January with so many games, to introduce one squad to face Intercity, then a completely different 11 for the game against the Wanda Metropolitano, and half for the game against Betis in the Super Cup the following week. So for me, the priority has to be everything and every single game. This means that the first title in play is the Super Cup. So for me, it would be really, really important to win this Super Cup. Would be the first title since the Copa del Rey that Barca won under Ronald Koeman.
Yes.
So a couple of years since that moment in La Cartuja, without spectators. It was still COVID-19 era. So for me, Robert, all has to be a priority, because you have a long squad and players to be combining and rotating. And then second part of the question, as the first competition in play is the Super Cup, I will say that you must and need to win this Super Cup.
Yes, because I kind of agree. Because obviously the priority long-term is La Liga. Xavi has said it. We saw it in the documentary. Right before the first game against Rayo Vallecano, he said, we want to compete and fight for all the titles. We want to win all the titles, but the priority is La Liga this year, guys. And he said, with the squad that we have to win this league title.
No, and really sure. That's interesting because, of course, this sentence and this statement was made before Rayo Vallecano game. Of course, after what happened in the Champions League. But for me, yeah, this is important because then in the press conferences, after being knocked out from the Champions League, yeah, he was still saying, this year the priority is the league, this year the priority is the league. You may think, well, now you say that your priority is the league because you are out of the Champions League. But no, Xavi said it before Rayo Vallecano, so of course before starting the Champions League. Yeah.
Yes. As I was saying, the long-term priority needs to be La Liga, but the idea of winning a title now in January, and it is the Super Cup, and maybe out of the 4 trophies that are at stake, it is maybe the lesser trophy, but it is a trophy. And it could potentially be in a final against Real Madrid if we get the job done against Betis and they get the job done against Valencia. And that would be an absolute morale booster. We saw, for example, last year, the chat, well, we've seen it in the New Era documentary, the chat that Joan Laporta, our president, had with the players after losing in the semi-final against Real Madrid in that extra time defeat against the Merengues. But talking about how he was proud of the team for having competed, for having had a chance to go through against Real Madrid and go through to the final of the Supercopa, and that you gradually saw how the team were coming back.
And it's, of course, a completely, and I'm going to say it now before playing the Super Cup, and I don't know what's going to happen, but what's going to happen, sorry, but it's a completely valued competition now with the format of semi-finals and a final, because it's played in January and not in August, with you are almost in pre-season and when your players were yet not ready to compete. So now it's in January, so everyone is at his 100%. There's this new format of semi-finals and final, and also, I mean, yeah, direct knockouts with just one game. For me, it's a completely overvalued now tournament that counts maybe more than years ago.
They have made it more attractive.
Yes, absolutely. The only point there is the fact to be played there in Saudi Arabia. That this is another debate.
Well, if it should be played in the country in which the competition or the teams in the country from where the teams come from, it should be played here in Spain.
But I agree with you, and the fact for all these youngsters to have the possibility to win a trophy, they need to win. I mean, I think on Gavi, for example. Yeah. Gavi has been playing really well. He's growing a lot, but has experienced just defeats or negative moments in general, taking into account that we are Barça and we are always fighting to win. So players like Gavi, like Balde, Eric Garcia, they need to win, and they need to taste the fact of winning. So starting with the Super Cup will be a good moment, I think, for all these players to win.
But I do always think as well, and obviously it would be great for them to win, and obviously you always prefer to win than to lose. But I always think that for all these young players, there can be positives out of experiencing defeat and tough defeat and not ever wanting to experience that again. I always reference, and for those who watch us regularly, they might have heard me say this 5-6 times. I always go back to an interview with Thierry Henry in our number 9 documentary that's on Barça TV Plus, in which he says in that first year that he signed for Barça, the team underperformed, didn't do all that well, and towards the end of the season went into Santiago Bernabeu, lost 4-1, and Real Madrid had already won the title, and that was a very negative experience for him. But that helped build a fire within, saying, I never want to experience that again. And how things turned around in the next season was amazing. And I feel that way as well for the young players, for Gavi, for Pedri, for, as you were saying, Eric Garcia, Ronald Araujo, all of these players who come into the first team and experience more defeats or more defeats in big games rather than wins. It does help build a fire, and I hope they can grow from there.
Yes, but I think it's enough, Robert.
No, we've had enough. We've had enough now. We've had enough now.
Difficult moments. So that's the moment to turn the page.
That's the moment to grow.
Exactly, and grow. We have been here seeing also on our live images some push-ups of the players that have lost these exercises. I'm not gonna spoil here, but yeah, have a look on chapter 5 of a new era, because there is an interesting history there about push-ups
involving Ansu Fati,
Araujo and
Lewandowski.
Who will win this challenge? of more push-ups between these three players, we will have to watch chapter 5 of a new era there in Las Vegas. It happened. Well, Robert, now it's going to be time, I think, for a game in a short field.
A little mini game of football, I imagine, with 3 different teams playing. We've got goals. Unfortunately for us, it's on the opposite side of where we're sitting at, so we haven't got a clear view of what's happening. Obviously, we can see what's happening on screen. Xavi right now talking to a team of players, including Jules Koundé, Franck Kessié, Memphis Depay is there as well, Ronald Araujo, Busquets wearing the red bib, so I get that Sergio Busquets is probably the one playing in attacking for both teams. He's like the joker in that sense. And we also see some of the staff getting some footballs lined up on the sideline there, presumably for the players to kick into the stands once this training session is over. We are about 10 minutes away from 12 o'clock here local time. This is scheduled to end at about 12:15, so we've still got about 25 minutes of a training session that we're offering to you live here on Barça TV Plus, on YouTube, on all of Barca's social media platforms. It is the live open doors training session at Spotify Camp Nou, with lots of kids here in the stands on their holiday period, Christmas holiday period. Chance for them to see their idols from up close.
Well, let's see how it goes, this small game between the two teams, yellow bib against a team without a bib, and then the red bib, I'll imagine, is kind of a joker that can be involved in
I think he's an option for both teams in attack there, as we can see. Yes, the 1-2 and the shot into ter Stegen's hands. We haven't really talked about ter Stegen all that much. He did concede the other day against Espanyol, obviously from the penalty spot, which is always high probability of a goal. The keeper is clearly in disadvantage. He almost saved it with his right foot, almost managed to get a kick on the ball. But ter Stegen, impressive this season so far, playing a total of 21 games, 11 clean sheets, most of them in La Liga, all of them in La Liga, in fact, and 28 saves made.
And, of course, one of the new captains of FC Barcelona.
Exactly. Announced last week with the departure of Gerard Piqué.
Yeah.
Ter Stegen now becomes the 4th captain alongside Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba and Sergi Roberto.
He deserves it, I think. Of course, for all the years he has been here, for what it means Ter Stegen for Barca, for his commitment not just for the club, also for the culture in the city of Barcelona, in Catalonia. And he shows really well, I think, Barca values also on the field and off the field. So really happy for Ter Stegen, that unfortunately was not able to play in the World Cup because Neuer was the starting goalkeeper. That then, well, some weeks later,
proceeded to get injured. Yes,
exactly. So, well, it's well, we wish him the best for Neuer to recover, but well, unlucky for us to haven't see Ter Stegen playing in the World Cup.
Hector Bellerin there in training, one of the players who might get the opportunity to start against Intercity. We saw Sergi Roberto start at right back the other day. This mini game going on right now with ter Stegen in one goal, Arnautenas on in the other goal, a team in yellow, a team in the light blue training kit, and Sergio Busquets in the middle, an attacking option, a passing option for both teams. Jules Koundé, Pablo Torre, we saw Franck Kessié involved as well. There's a shot and a goal. A low shot into the back of the net.
Levy?
I think it was Ferran Torres.
Ferran, yeah.
Nice to see, of course. We talked about it before. Ronald Araujo back in training. A good save there by Ferran Torres on the line, and now a chance for a goal, which didn't happen on the other side. And Memphis putting the ball in the back of the net. Memphis didn't play the other day against Espanyol. Could be one of the other players who gets a chance to start against Intercity.
That's interesting, Robert. There's many actions in this small game. Look, again, post.
Fast-paced game. Balde to the post, and Bellerin scores. There's obviously a team that's not involved in here. They're waiting on the sidelines, staying active with a
nice
rondo,
one.
and there's another nice goal there.
Pablo Torre, nice one. Excited. Let's see if he has some minutes, Pablo Torre in the cup, because we are kind of we were all really excited when Barça announced the signing of Pablo Torre, but unfortunately he hasn't been really involved in terms of minutes with the first team this year so
we
far.
do have to remind ourselves sometimes that it is hard, because obviously we have the experience of signing Pedri at the young age of 18 and him almost immediately delivering. Gavi coming up from Barça B, almost immediately delivering at the age of 17. But this is not the usual case. Players need time sometimes. And Pablo Torre arrived 18, and it's a natural process for him to have to fight for a spot in the first team, in a star-studded midfield with Sergio Busquets, with Frenkie de Jong, with Gavi, with Pedri. You've got Kessié in there as well. So sometimes we're a bit impatient in, why is he not playing? Oh, he needs more opportunities and all that. And we need to remind ourselves that for 18-year-olds, normally the natural process is to not play very much and then gradually start to earn their spot.
Exactly. I mean, especially the case of Gavi, it's the strange one, because he practically went from the U19 team to the first team without playing for Barça B. Pedri's case is a little bit different, because you sign it, but then he spends a full year in the second division playing for Las Palmas. And the case of Pablo Torre, he was playing in the third division. There was this debate to stay him on Racing de Santander on loan. Racing, a team that were promoted to the second division, thanks in most part of it to Pablo Torre. But in the end, Xavi decides that the best thing for him is to stay with the first team, to have these experiences, to train with all these stars, and also to have some minutes with Barça B. Well, the time will say if it was the right process or not, but I'm sure Pablo Torre is still really young and that he has a brilliant future coming up here on Barça.
Ansu Fati on our screens right now. He started the other day against Espanyol. Wasn't able to shine bright, but we hope that this 2023 will be the year of the comeback of our number 10. Ansu Fati, the player who's got a knack for scoring important goals, and we need that goal-scoring ability in this second half of the season to be able to compete for all the titles that we're involved in, starting with the Supercopa in this month of January. That will be next week. Semi-finals on Thursday against Betis, and hopefully a final on the Sunday. There'll be the Copa del Rey as well that we'll be fighting for. Of course, La Liga, with important games coming up next week at the Metropolitano. And then, starting in February, the Europa League, starting with that clash against Manchester United, which will be very interesting. Of course, Manchester United, a team with certain parallels to Barça, one of the European greats who've been going through some struggles, and but slowly starting to be relevant again.
Yes, I mean, similar, yes and not, because Manchester United, there are many years now without, not just in Europe, also in the domestic league. It's kind of 5-6 years without seeing United again fighting for the domestic trophy. And in the case of Barça, it's completely different, because although last season, of course, the objective was kind of qualify for the Champions League, Barça in second spot. And watching the docu-series, I was not thinking at all that there are some moments where Barça are kind of there in the fight with the league. Of course, with a big distance with Real Madrid, but well, they were there.
Well, you think even back to 2 seasons ago, which kind of ended in a bit of a down mode.
Well, Koeman era, yeah.
The Koeman era, you had a chance to win the league. Obviously, then we lost the game here at home against Granada, and that was disappointing. And Barça weren't able to finish off the league in winning fashion, but there was a chance there. And last year, we did kind of get close, although Real Madrid did have a big lead that was ultimately very difficult to overcome.
Yes, the big problem of Barça this year has been basically in Europe. Because if you have an eye on the league, well, you have him there. I mean, not at your best. But yeah, it's going to be exciting, I think, discuss with Man United. I think a team that, little by little are also improving. They have a good manager, like Ten Hag. And I would like to see United again as one of the giants in Europe, because tradition and also, well, because big clubs deserve, I think, to be there. But of course, you have to work. And there is a big competition now in all Europe, and especially in the Premier League, of course.
And Bruno, I don't want to draw too many conclusions, because obviously we'll see on Wednesday. But I do get the sense that the players who are not involved in this little game are the ones who started the other day. We've got Pedri, we've got Gavi, we've got Marcos Alonso there, we've got Ansu Fati as well. And the players who are on the pitch, I would say, are quite likely to start on Wednesday, or to be involved in the Wednesday game, because you can see Araujo coming back from injury. You've got Memphis, you've got Bellerin as well, you've got Balde, who came on in the second half against Espanyol. Lots of different options there. Pablo Torre as well, Kessié. I'm getting the sense that those players who we're seeing right now playing that little game might be the ones that we see on Wednesday.
Not all of them, I will say, but most of them.
Not this one,
yes.
for example.
No, exactly.
Not this one.
But well, Intercity with a good chance to see a full live training session today. They will also have the chance to follow the first 15 minutes of tomorrow's session.
Yeah.
So, well, almost with an eye on
I'd say for a
Barcelona.
Primera Ref team, that's good access to Barca's training sessions.
No, absolutely. And look the stands. It's impressive image.
Absolutely packed.
Main stand absolutely packed, with banners, with excitement of all the youngsters. That now that they've seen there are some balls ready there in the sideline, they will have the opportunity to go home with a reward or a Christmas present. Well, it will be interesting and emotive, of course, the moment to see players connecting with the fans in this final part of the training session. But well, a beautiful image, Robert, in not a sunny day in Barcelona, but yes, with a good temperature, because 14 degrees right now here in Barcelona. So, well, exciting to see the stands with this fantastic attitude.
And Robert Lewandowski kindly kicking the ball our way there. It almost got to our position, but he just missed by a bit. We are coming towards the end of the training session. We still got about 10-15 minutes remaining. I guess the plan was for this to end at about 12:15. That's a lovely goal that we saw right now on our screens. Fantastic little effort. Backheel finish by Pablo Torre. And as I was saying, yes, 15 minutes more or less remaining here on the pitch. If everything goes according to schedule, as Memphis scores a fantastic goal right now, then the players will have a little bit of an interaction here with the fans, handing out some gifts, kicking some balls into the stands. And then, Bruno, as you were saying before, more stuff for the kids, this time for the kids who unfortunately are spending this beginning of the year in hospital, with Barca players visiting them in 8 or 9 different groups.
Yes. And seeing now the attitude of the stands, sometimes you think, I mean, it's kind of really easy to make your fans happy.
Exactly.
And sometimes in the era and in the times that we are now, it seems to be difficult to see sometimes this connection between the fans and the players. But look at now, just how they happy are when there is a goal in this training session. So connect with the fan.
What it was right now is it was Robert Lewandowski, more or less from midfield, taking shots at an empty goal. He did 2 or 3 of them, and the fans delighted to see the ball go in every time.
So yeah, my point there was, well, yeah, and look at this Spotify Camp Nou.
You can hear it, the fans chanting the name of Lewandowski, one of the fan favourites, no doubt.
So yeah, I think Barca players are concerned about the importance to connect with the fans, and all of them, they always take pictures, they sign autographs outside the Ciudad Esportiva. But in general, I will say even more, I mean, it's really important for these players to connect with the fans and to make them happy, because also, especially Barca supporters suffering a little bit in these last years with some results, especially in Europe, as we were saying. So yeah, let's make them happy. Let's take pictures, sign autographs. Now they probably will have the chance to win a ball. It's fantastic, and fans are. It's a topic, but it's true. Fans are football. I mean, football is for fans, and you need to make them happy. And in this kind of actions, Barca with these training sessions open to the public, I think it's kind of a good action and the way to go to connect even more nowadays in this kind of virtual world that we are entering on. This connection between the fan and the player.
Football is passion, and the passion comes from the fans. Football doesn't make sense in empty stadiums. So, yeah, it's important for the players to have that connection with the fans. I get the sense as well that the fans are really connecting with this young generation of players that we've talked about. We called them the Dream Team last year, with Pedri, with Gavi, with Ronald Araujo, with Eric Garcia, Ansu Fati, all of these young players that we have here, and this new era that we're trying to build here at Football Club Barcelona.
Yes, it seems, Robert, that the training session for the starters against Espanyol has practically ended.
Although Pedri and Lewandowski are having a little bit of fun there, passing the ball to each other, heading it, keeping the ball in the air, trying to get it not to drop. Two fan favourites, Pedri and Lewandowski.
The substitutes finishing this small game that has been exciting, and we've seen beautiful goals. And well, now Robert will be at this moment for the players to share with the fans. And well, remember that this doesn't stop. Tomorrow another training session, press conference of Xavi Hernandez, and on Wednesday with Barça Live at 8:30.
8:30, yes, half an hour before the game.
Intercity Barça, Copa del Rey. I'm always excited about these first rounds of the Copa del Rey, with the surprises, with the small teams, in small grounds. Not the case of Barça, because Intercity decided to play in a big stadium like the Rico Pérez, but I love these first rounds of the Copa del Rey. This essence, the spirit.
If we look back at the last 3 years, for example, all three very complicated games for Barca. Last year against Linares, we had to fight it out. The previous year against Ibiza, 2 late goals from Antoine Griezmann, and the previous year against Cornellà.
True, Cornellà, it's true. Oh, it was a tough one in the extra time. Yes. I think the game was decided.
Yes, goal from Ousmane Dembélé.
Same, Dembélé is the man in this first rounds of the Copa del Rey. Yeah, and then when it was 2 games in each round, I remember Cultural Leonesa also a tough one, and they're playing away. Yeah, playing away always is really difficult in these kind of small stadiums. And I don't know, this is of course a debate for the teams that are hosting these ties. If it's the right option to go to a big stadium, of course you say, I mean, our fans deserve to be all in this historic day, and in a 2,000 spectators stadium, all your fans doesn't have the chance to be enjoying it. But in terms of the sporting side of this tie, Barca will feel much more comfortable in a field like the Rico Pérez with natural grass than in a small place.
The speaker here at the stadium has just handed the microphone to some of the young fans, and the first name they've chanted out is Gavi, obviously one of the players that is a fan favourite as well. The youngster who fans, it's easy for fans to fall in love with him because they see him fight. He's just a tiny little lad, and he goes up against players who are double the size of him, isn't afraid, goes into every clash, competes for the ball, and just gives so much to Barca.
I can confirm that when we are here at the Camp Nou and we leave the stadium after a late game, outside people, most of them are waiting with Gavi with banners. He's kind of the #1 player in the list of banners, I would say. Also, when you are going away and you see the first rows of the stands. Yeah, Gavi, Pedri, Lewandowski, I will say, is kind of the top 3 of the players that right now the people are more excited on. But well, we also see Ter Stegen, your shirt, please. Then, of course, with the new signings like Koundé,
I would add to that list of 3.
Like Busquets.
I would add to that list of 3, although because of injuries, he has gone through a rough patch. Ansu Fati is another player who the fans really like, and we hope that he can go back to being impactful.
More Gavis, no? Here?
More Gavis.
Xavi or Gavi? Gavi.
I think it's Gavi. I think it's Gavi.
Yeah.
The game between the team in the yellow bib and the team in the blue training kit still going on, but I do think that this is coming to an end.
Araujo, how much we miss him in the field, leading, winning tackles. Yesterday reviewing chapter number 4 of a new era in that Clásico at the Bernabeu. It's impressive how Araujo stopped Vinicius in that clash. I'm excited to see Araujo again in form because he's a key player. Araujo, Koundé.
We haven't had our full defensive line for 3 months now.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons, Robert, also why we struggled in Europe, because most of our key defenders were out.
Definitely. We were missing Koundé, we were missing Araujo. Christensen got injured against Inter Milan. Eddie Garcia's had nagging injuries. We've got some banners there in the stands. Some want a Pedri jersey, some want a Balde
Careful with
jersey.
Balde, he's growing a lot also, and also between the fans. Oh, how many banners. It's impressive there in the stands to see now that the players are getting there to the position of the fans, the first presence for them.
And yes, the training session has come to an end. The players kicking some footballs into the stands. Everyone wants a Christmas present. Let's not forget that here in Catalonia and in Spain, it is King's Day on Friday, a special day for the kids with the three wise men, the three kings, coming round on Thursday night on the 5th to hand out presents to every household. And we also see some players there signing autographs coming towards our end of the pitch. Robert Lewandowski, Ferran Torres, Andres Christensen, Frenkie de Jong, Jordi Alba, Eddie Garcia, Jules Koundé kicking footballs into the stands there. All of these kids eager to win one.
Impressive.
Just look at the excitement of all of those fans.
Oh, look there, Lewandowski going to the first row, giving in person one of the balls. Yeah, because most of the balls are going up and up, and the ones in the first rows are having more problems to receive a present.
There's one that went really high up now there. Frenkie de Jong kicked it into the stands. They're going to go to the opposite side of the pitch. And Frenkie de Jong observing right over our heads here how there is no longer a video screen.
Yeah, it reminds us to the old Vicente Calderón,
yes.
That also got a big gap in the middle of the stands. And well, yeah, of course, the works on the new Camp Nou and new project have started, and Barça will be playing in the Olympic Stadium of Montjuic next season.
The video scoreboard up above our heads is no longer there on one of the sides of the stadium as the renewal works here at Spotify Camp Nou have intensified and will go through the next couple of years. As you said, Bruno, next season we will not be playing here at Spotify Camp Nou. The players thanking the fans for being here, for showing them support. I feel it's important as well for the players to feel engaged with their young fan base after a result like the one we had on Saturday. It makes them feel supported as well going into a very intense 2023.
Absolutely, but yeah, I like to see, of course, these players involved also with the fans, and in general to see them come with a smile, because Robert, I mean, it was not the result that we were expecting, but as we were saying, it's just a point in a long league, and you have to continue fighting, and now many important games are coming up, so important to stay focused on each game and with the confidence to play good football games and win, of course, all these matches.
Sergio Busquets, our captain, taking some pictures with the fans there. He's going to be very busy if he stops for every single one of them, because there are lots and lots of young fans here at the Spotify Camp Nou signing jerseys as well. We've got Gavi and Eddie Garcia there on screen. We saw banners asking for Lewandowski jerseys as well. Players heading to the center of the pitch here. We'll see if we get any reactions from any of the players there. Our colleague Mario Brau is standing pitch side, and we might get some reactions from one of the players. And the players in the center circle there thanking the fans for their support here today at the Spotify Camp Nou on a very special day, the second day of the year, open doors training session here at the stadium. And of course now, as we said before, the players will be divided into different groups and head to different hospitals here in Barcelona to visit those who unfortunately are in hospital right now, and giving them that little moment of joy.
Yes, they were about to take the official picture, and Busquets and Pedri were signing autographs, and there Oscar, the head of security, was saying, guys, go with the rest of the squad because you will have to take the official picture. But now players leaving the Spotify Camp Nou, they are gonna take a shower, get changed, and ready for this special visit for all these kids in the hospital, and there are some lucky guys with the robots also enjoying this experience.
Let's explain this again. Those two screens that you see there are called Robot Paul and Robot Joyce. They are connected via video call to kids who are in hospital, who are in a room in hospital recovering from whatever illness or condition they have, and it's given them the full experience of being here at Spotify Camp Nou today and a chance to interact with their favorite players. We saw a group of players in front of the screens before, now Robert Lewandowski and Ronald Araujo.
And Robert, I think we have Marc Brau with our one of our players, with Eric Garcia. Let's see if we can hear it.
Que és sent un jugador que en un entrenament habitualment està sol i avui pot entrenar-se aquí a l'Spotify Camp Nou i amb tanta gent.
Well, Eric, what about
al final,
the experience to
que és algo
train
molt il·lusionant
with all these fans today at the Spotify Camp Nou?
Per nosaltres també, no? Com dius, estem acostumats a entrenar sense ningú i res, molt contents.
No sé si a més també després de com han anat aquests últims mesos, que heu estat voltant, alguns del Mundial, altres aquí us heu reunit, també és una manera també de tornar a estar ja a casa i de sentir-se també més a prop de l'afició.
I tant, després també del partit de l'altre dia, avui també estar aquí a casa, doncs és molt important per nosaltres.
Et faig una última pregunta en català, Eric. M'imagino que també això pot ser un impuls per l'equip, no? Amb aquest calendari que ve, és veritat que ara estareu uns quants partits sense jugar aquí a casa, però arriba així el suport de l'afició, no sé si us dona més moral.
Sí, i tant, sobretot com tu dius, pel que ve ara, el partit de Copa, l'Atlètic i després ja la Supercopa, molt important per nosaltres doncs, estar aquí amb la nostra gent i sentir tot l'apoyo que tenim.
We'll do the last question in English, Eric. If you can explain your feelings in this special day here in Spotify Camp Nou with a lot of kids watching this training, what do you think about that?
I think it's really special for us, also for them. A lot of kids coming up now in those important dates here, and we are really happy. We feel the emotion that they have been here, and it's incredible for us.
Gràcies, Eric. I ara cap als hospitals, recuperar aquesta bonica tradició. L'Eric Garcia, que ens ha atès aquí molt amablement.
Well, we heard the words there of Eric Garcia, our centre-back, who we hope will be able to be involved in more games in 2023. He finished 2022 with some nagging injuries. He's going to be an important part, of course, of what is going to be, Bruno, a very busy schedule. Before we leave, let's go over it, because we have lots of games coming up. On Wednesday, Intercity Barça, our debut in La Copa del Rey. We want to win that trophy, of course. And today, this week, we face our first opponent, team from the Primera Ref. Single tie, so if we win, we go through. If we lose, we're out. So, very important one, of course. And then, Bruno, Sunday, Metropolitano.
Metropolitano, Atletico Madrid-Barça, tough game, of course, and an important one, even more after the draw here against Espanyol. You need to win.
We're tied at points in La Liga with Real Madrid, so it will be important to beat Atletico on Sunday. And then we move on to La Supercopa.
Yes.
Semi-finals against Betis.
Trip to Saudi Arabia, trip to Riyadh, semi-finals against Betis, then the semi-final Real Madrid-Valencia. Valencia playing on Wednesday, Barça, Betis playing on Thursday. The winners of each tie will be playing in the final on Sunday.
Hopefully we will be in that final. We will see if it's against Valencia or against Real Madrid. Then, if we make it through against Intercity, there would be more rounds of the Copa del Rey through January, the round of 16 and the quarter-finals, and more La Liga games against Getafe here at the Spotify Camp Nou and against Girona to finish off the month of January. Then, February, we would proceed on to Europa League, Manchester United. Lots of things to get excited about in this 2023. A chance to win 4 titles. Let's see how we do. There will be lots of exciting games, I am sure. Bruno, one wish for 2023.
To win trophies. Easy one, but we need trophies, and let's see if we can start winning the Super Cup, and also to see again the best version of Ansu Fati.
I would say that those are my wishes as well, and of course health to everyone. We're going to sign off from here. Bruno, you're going to go over to one of the hospitals here in Barcelona?
Yes, Vall-d'Hebron. I'm going to Vall-d'Hebron, and let's see. Exciting always this day to see these special moments between the kids that are in hospitals and the players.
Yes, the players will be divided into 8-9 different groups and visit several hospitals from here in Barcelona and the cities that surround Barcelona to spread a little bit of joy for those kids who unfortunately are spending this holiday period in hospital. We've offered you the live training session, open doors training session here from the Spotify Camp Nou. We saw the players for about an hour and a quarter in action, preparing for this busy month of January, especially that first game against Intercity on Wednesday. Bruno, you'll be there at the Rico Pérez.
Yes, Enrico Pérez, then Barça Live, 8:30 local time on YouTube Live. So yeah, excited again to be in this dynamic. Like having many weeks without domestic competition, so we are excited.
Yeah, we'll be back with you on Wednesday on Barça TV Plus on YouTube and all of Barca's social media platforms for that game against Intercity from half an hour before the game. Also tomorrow on Barça TV Plus, live training session, first 15 minutes coming to you to prepare for that Copa del Rey game, and of course the Xavi Hernandez press conference. Bruno, I'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you, Robert.
And to all of you who have been watching us, thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you all.